This segment explores the illegal engineering behind the most feared fighter in the Pacific. We dive into the 1937 Navy requirements. The Japanese Imperial Navy demanded a plane that could fly faster, climb higher, and travel further than anything in existence, all while being light enough for carrier operations. We analyze the genius of Jiro Horikoshi, the lead designer who used forbidden materials, specifically a top-secret high-strength aluminum alloy known as extra super duralumin. This allowed the Zero to be incredibly light but dangerously fragile, as it lacked any self-sealing fuel tanks or pilot armor. The core of this section focuses on the symmetry-breaking maneuverability. We break down the physics of the turn. Because the Zero was so light, it had a wing loading that allowed it to outturn every Allied fighter in 1941. We detail the tactical scandal at Pearl Harbor in the Philippines, where Allied pilots flying heavier armored P-40s realized too late that engaging a Zero in a dogfight was a death sentence. We examine the illegal range of the aircraft, which used a drop tank system to fly over 1,600 miles, allowing it to strike targets that the Allies thought were safely out of reach. The A6M Zero held sway over the Pacific for the first 2 years of the war. We explore the Zero mythos, the belief among Allied air crews that the Japanese plane was invincible. We break down the forbidden combat reports from the American Flying Tigers and Navy pilots who were forced to invent the thatch weave, a specialized team tactic just to survive an encounter with a single Zero. We analyze the mechanical perfection of the Sakai engine, which provided the reliability needed for long-distance overwater missions, where an engine failure meant certain death in the ocean. We then dive into the turning point, the Akutan Zero. We recount the harrowing story of a Japanese pilot who crash-landed a nearly intact Zero on a remote Aleutian island. We detail the illegal intelligence haul. The U.S. Navy recovered the plane, repaired it, and flew it to find its forbidden weaknesses. We analyze the data they uncovered, specifically that the Zero became nearly impossible to control at speeds over 300 miles per hour, and that its lack of protection made it a flying Zippo that would ignite from a single well-placed incendiary round. The narrative begins with the technological eclipse of 1943. We analyze the symmetry-breaking arrival of the F-6H Hellcat and F-4U Corsair. These American fighters were designed specifically using data from the captured Akutan Zero to negate every advantage the Zero had. We detail the illegal power gap. While the Zero's Sakai engine had hit a developmental ceiling at roughly 1,100 horsepower, American engines were now pushing 2,000 horsepower. This allowed Allied pilots to dictate the terms of every engagement, diving away when in danger and catching the Zero when it tried to flee. We then dive into the industrial scandal of the late war years. As Japan's elite veteran symmetry breaker pilots were killed in the Solomons and Midway, they were replaced by green recruits with only a few dozen hours of flight time. These pilots couldn't handle the sensitive, unarmored flight characteristics. We explore the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, a slaughter where over 300 Japanese aircraft were downed in a single day. We analyze the mechanical stagnation. Mitsubishi tried to fix the Zero by adding armor and self-sealing tanks in the A6M model, but the added weight destroyed its only defense, agility. The plane became a flying Zippo that would ignite from a single .50 caliber burst, yet it was now too slow to dodge the fire. The heart of this segment covers the forbidden transformation. By 1944, the once elegant fighter was turned into a dedicated kamikaze weapon. We detail the tactical desperation. The aircraft was stripped of its cannons, loaded with a 250-kilogram or 500-kilogram bomb, and welded into a one-way configuration. We examine the psychological horror of the pilots, young men, often students, forced to fly a machine designed for the art of the dogfight as a crude, manned missile. We look at the final naval audit.
Despite thousands of sorties, the Zero-turned Kamikaze faced a wall of American proximity fuse AA fire that vaporized the fragile aluminum frames before they could even reach the fleet. The finale examines the eternal ghost of the Zero. We look at the hidden legacy, how the Zero's extreme focus on weight-saving and long-range efficiency directly influenced modern Japanese engineering and the global pursuit of fuel economy. We conclude with a look at the few remaining flyable Zeros in the world, standing as a reminder of a machine that was built too perfectly for a world that chose raw power over grace. The video ends with a haunting shot of a Zero silhouette against a setting sun, reflecting on the cost of perfection, a plane so dominant it blinded its creators to the reality that in total war, durability eventually beats agility.